Okay, we're live from the 2010 RPMDA convention in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma, at the Hal Leonard exhibit, and with a longtime friend, David Jahnke, otherwise known as DJ.
Otherwise known as, exactly.
DJ. And DJ, besides being works at the Hal Leonard, I also play gigs with him at various NAMM show events with the band Prince with a Z. And DJ's an awesome drummer and also can play the drums and sing, which always blows my mind because how did you do that? So the main thing we're trying to find out is how did you get started in the music industry before you were at Hal Leonard?
Very good question. I started out going to, actually it all starts out, I was in a school music program back in 5th grade, started playing drums, and then kind of progressed on through, and when I hit my senior year, I knew that I was a good drummer, but I wasn't quite good enough to actually make a career as a performer. So I decided I was going to go to school for a business major. So I went to UW Milwaukee my first year for business and realized that I auditioned into this top performing wind ensemble at UW Milwaukee, and I wasn't even a music major, but I figured music was that big portion of my life. I was still a very good player, so I decided at that point I didn't want to just throw all my music aside. I found a school that had a combination between music business and music performance degree. So, and it was UW Oshkosh, and it was a music merchandising audio engineering program. Wow. So I actually have a double degree in music merchandising and audio engineering. So I went through school, and it was a perfect combination of business courses and music courses. So then, of course, after college, you decide, what are you going to do? Well, after getting little to zero help from my from the advisors at the college placement, when they come in and say, "Oh, a music degree, have a great life."
Good luck.
I contacted the music store that I bought all my drums from. It was a place called Tony's Drum Shop up in Appleton, Wisconsin. And went up to Tony and just said, "You know, I'm graduating. This is my degree." Tony looked at me and said, "You know what? I need an employee." And it was like, "Oh, great!" So I came to his shop. He was there for 1 week. The thing he didn't tell me is that he was going to come in, and the next week he was going on tour to Germany for the USO tour for a month. So I came in, he gave me 1 week of training and said, "The store is yours, good luck." And like, okay, he had the accountant pay the other employees, that type of stuff, but really let me do my own thing and trusted me enough because I did a lot of business with him to kind of launch me into the music store. So there I'm at it, I'm doing things daily, and still remember vividly the day that he came back. It was a Saturday, we were like 5 deep at the counter. He walks in and he puts a big German beer on the counter, pops it, and he says, "You know, I got back last night, I took a look at the books, we made a profit, you're hired."
That was your audition.
So that was my audition. So I worked in music retail, which I try to encourage anybody that's going to music school to actually go and work music retail, because that is where you find out what is happening in the music industry, and that's what you find out, you know, about all the different manufacturers that are out there and everything. And I love my time in the music industry. And then the single worst thing that could happen to a drummer happened. I got married. And when you get married, you start thinking about things like, okay, you know, what am I going to be doing and that type of thing. And my only option really at that point was to buy Tony out. And we talked about it, but it wasn't really quite right for me yet. And Tony knew about it, so he let me start looking at other options. So I sent out about 50 resumes to music companies. And through those resumes, I started calling people back. And one of the first people I called was a man by the name of Keith Mardak, who was at that time the president and CEO of the Hal Leonard Corporation. And the thing that I remember vividly about that, I got his administrative assistant, and Keith was in a meeting, said, "Fine, this is David Jahnke, just left my number." 10 minutes later, Keith called me back personally and said, "I heard that you called." And so here it is, the president and CEO of the company taking time to call out. And I figured if that is a CEO, that's a company I want to go interview with. So I interviewed with Larry Morton, who's now our company president, and they kind of liked what they saw, and they decided to take a chance on a drummer from up in Wisconsin, and I started there, and that was September 21st of 1992. So I started out at the very lowest level Hal Leonard employee could start out with, and that was on the call center. And at that point, I told my wife, "You know what? I'm just going to cut out playing, because I really kind of want to focus on my career and that type of thing. And so I was working for Hal Leonard for about 6 months when my wife came up to me and said, "You're no longer my husband." And I said, "What?" It's like, "You have changed so much. You're no longer fun." It's like, something happened, and when we sat back and realized it's because I quit playing. And so at that point we worked together and said, you know what, playing is a vital and it's a very important part of who I am and how I got to where I am. And basically she allowed me to start playing out again about 4 times a month.
Really good point.
And I've been doing that now for about 15 years, gigging steadily. I currently gig. I'm vice president of national sales for Hal Leonard, and I have a very grueling schedule, do a lot of traveling, but it's still a very important part of who I am to continue to play out. And I play out about 4 times a month, and for me, it's like my volleyball league. It's what I do to relax, it's what I do to have fun with.
And also, don't you think with your job, your current job, still playing gives you some of an edge with your company, maybe versus...
Well, it not only gives an edge, but it also helps to keep me. It keeps me in line with what's happening out there in the music community. And also, I'm not saying that everybody that is a drummer is going to end up in sales, but if you have a sales type personality when you're out there in a gig and you're meeting people, and that just helps to it just helps fuel everything. And I've met a lot of great people out there. In fact, I met people that we've ended up hiring at Hal Leonard through different types of gigs because they come up and they're other musicians. Hal Leonard has a reputation who will only hire musicians because you have to have a very keen level of performance and knowledge to be able to work at our company because we sell everything from pop music to classical music to contemporary music to accessories now, and you just have to have a very well-balanced musical background.
Well, that point bringing up about being a musician, I remember being at Hal Leonard, and one of the guys was transcribing something for a book. And someone else had done the initial transcription. The guy pulled out his guitar and sat down and played through it. And he found a couple of 16th notes that were incorrect and read them.
Right.
And it was just a matter of, if he wasn't a musician, it probably would have went right through. No one would have known if it was accurate.
I'm just giving you the sales perspective. But at a company like Hal Leonard, we do have transcribers. I mean, these are the guys that basically take a song, put on the headphones, and transcribe things out note for note. So if you've got perfect pitch, or if you're really keen at being able to pick out parts of a song and getting them perfect, maybe you can become a transcriber. So you can still play and you can transcribe. We have editors. It's kind of that same exact type of talent, where our editors, unlike transcribers, they're the ones that are responsible for taking those transcriptions and then making them playable for whatever level you want to play at. There's note for note things, but then you have to make things that are a little bit easier for the pianist, and then everything from 5-finger to big note to easy piano to piano solo. So that's all the editors that are trying to get to that part. And then there's graphic technicians that do the covers. I mean, and those people, a lot of them are musicians as well. Page layout technicians and engravers, the people that actually put notes on the page. There's so many opportunities, but it all starts as being a musician, and it all starts with that same discipline of being the best that you can be, practicing your craft, being as good a musician as you can. And you know what? There's a lot of room to be able to grow, get good jobs in the music industry, And I'm going to say this again. Before you try everything else, work in a music store. Work in a music store. That will give you the absolute best background that you can possibly have, and a great way to be able to introduce you into the industry.
Fantastic. Well, awesome. Always great. It's always good talking with you. Always good playing.
You can learn a lot from this man. In fact, there's books that we've published because of this man. He's like an idol, an icon in the industry. You're fortunate to
Hal
have
Leonard is really
this man.
receptive to ideas. Well, thanks.
We live on ideas.
Thanks.
All right. Good luck.
Signing